Tonight on Close Up, you trust them with your life literally. So how did another pharmacy give a patient the wrong prescription?
I want people to be aware that this can happen.
Plus, alone after 32 years with one lonely dolphin left, is this the end for Napier's Marineland?
Thank you. Good deal.
See tonight at 7.
New Zealand is warning Japan it'll have a fight on its hands if it tries to take control of the International Whaling Commission. The government's concerned Japan may win enough votes from smaller member nations to allow it to expand its whaling program. A note though, you may find some images in this report disturbing.
The Japanese claim hunting whales is a cherished tradition and accuse anyone who tries to stop them of cultural imperialism. Now Japan is pushing its pro-whaling position even further by trying to take control of the International Whaling Commission. It needs 50 of the 66 members to agree to overturn the commercial whaling moratorium.
New Zealand will do everything in its power to prevent that happening. But even a simple majority will tilt the affairs of the Whaling Commission towards the pro-whaling point of view, and that will be a dark day for us.
It's likely Japan will win at least 51% of the votes, giving it the power to elect a new whaling-friendly chairperson, abolish the Conservation Committee and expand scientific whaling. It could also introduce secret ballots.
That means that countries will not be accountable to the rest of the world and their own citizens about how they vote for whether they support the Japanese position or the conservation position. That's very serious.
So serious, New Zealand has joined forces with Australia and Britain to lobby other nations to vote for whale conservation.
I don't think myself that Japan understands the depth of concern about this issue.
But it will still be an uphill battle, with Japan long having been accused of buying poorer nations' votes with foreign aid.
Japan has never made a secret of that, and they have been very active in that program.
Chris Carter plans to be just as active in his lobbying, beginning with meeting the Australian government on Thursday to discuss strategy for the Whaling Commission meeting in the Caribbean in June. Francesca Mould, One News.
Police hunting the killer of Hawke's Bay farmer Jack Nicholas are describing it as a breakthrough. They've arrested a 49-year-old labourer and charged him with perverting the course of justice by getting someone else to make a false statement. Jack Nicholas was shot dead outside the gate of his farm in August 2004.
This is a significant step forward for us, there's no doubt about that, but we've still got a long way to go before we talk about finally resolving this matter.
Officers also searched 2 houses in the settlement of Homoana this morning.
Children's teeth are rotting away faster than ever before in New Zealand. Dentists are blaming the rapid decay on sugar-packed diets, poor parental care and lack of government funding.
He's just 4.5, but already one of Johnny Ha's teeth is so rotten it has to be pulled out. It's a gruesome reality facing more preschoolers than ever.
Every year we'd see probably 2 or 3 kids who actually have to have all their teeth removed as a preschooler because they are so bad.
And the latest Ministry of Health figures support that. In 2002, a child had on average just under 2 teeth pulled out, filled or decaying before even starting school. That number's steadily increasing.
All the teeth will decay down to the gum levels. That's quite common.
It didn't help that we stopped training dental therapists in the 90s, and it is good that we now have 2 schools, one in Dunedin, one in Auckland.
The problem is worse for Māori, Pacific Islanders and Asians, and the report may change attitudes in Hamilton. Its city council's about to hold a referendum on whether the region's tap water should stay fluoridated.
What we've seen happen elsewhere in New Zealand, including in Tauranga, is when you stop fluoridating the drinking water, the rates of decay increase.
Less than 40% of children are enrolled with a dentist before they start school. Dentists say signing tots up by the age of 1 is one way parents can help.
Start cleaning the teeth with just a smear of fluoride toothpaste right from when the teeth first come in.
Cut down fizzy drinks, avoid bottle feeding at night time.
The government's pledged $100 million to the school dental service over the next 5 years. Little comfort for Johnny, but hopefully a timely reminder for parents. Jacobina Plummer, One News.
US doctors are hailing a major advance in the fight against breast cancer. A widely used drug has been shown to dramatically reduce the risk of the disease in postmenopausal women with fewer side effects.
It offers women better options. Now, a safer drug also prevents breast cancer.
The drug is raloxifene, sold as Evista. It's currently used to reverse thinning bones, but a trial of 8,000 women who took it found they had a much lower incidence of breast cancer. The drug could be an alternative for women on tamoxifen because it's less likely to cause side effects such as blood clots and uterine cancer. MedSafe says raloxifene is only approved here to treat osteoporosis.
The deadliest attack on Israel in 2 years has fueled fears of a new wave of suicide bombings. The Palestinians' new Hamas government has refused to condemn the terror attack on the Jewish Passover holiday.
The bomb was shocking enough, a huge blast tearing through a crowd of people outside a Tel Aviv fast food restaurant. But the aftershock was worse. The new Palestinian government of Hamas said the attack was legitimate. A guard checked the bag of a young Palestinian and was torn apart in a blast of fire. 9 people died, more than 40 wounded. The last bomb attack in Israel was 3 months ago here in exactly the same spot. The owner of this restaurant now has survived 2 suicide bombs in 3 months. The militant group Islamic Jihad said it sent the bomber, a 21-year-old university dropout. On tape, he warned many more suicide bombers were on the way. But what disturbed many Israelis here was the reaction from the new Palestinian government. Instead of condemning the terror attack as the usual practice, the new Hamas government defended the bombing.
Our people are in a state of self-defense and have every right to use all means to defend themselves, using all the means available.
The Hamas government that is on the U.S. terrorism list and refuses to recognize Israel's right to exist now says it will not work to prevent suicide bombing. Israeli security chiefs were meeting tonight to discuss Israel's reaction, but officials say Israel's in a bind, wanting to react harshly but not wanting to escalate the violence.
In Europe, the mighty Danube River has broken its banks, causing flood chaos in several countries and driving tens of thousands of people from their homes. Heavy rain and melting snow pushed the Danube to its highest level in more than a century. Serbia, Romania and Bulgaria were hardest hit, but there was a silver lining for some in Belgrade.
He's a well-known sight on the streets of the capital, but few suspected his hidden talents. Now the Rain Man-like recluse who struggles with society has stunned the art world. Some of his paintings have gone on show at a New York museum.
They call him a hermit and a recluse. Now you can add artist to the list of names used to describe a 49-year-old Martin Thompson.
Basic proportions, 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 9, 9 times 17, 153.
And adds he does. It's the maths behind the art that makes Thompson's work exceptional. He's the first Kiwi or Australian, for that matter, to have his artworks exhibited at New York's American Folk Art Museum.
I can't go much further, I can't go any higher. This is as high as I can go. I've climbed Mount Everest. I've climbed the art lord's Mount Everest.
Martin's talent was uncovered when he took free art classes, impressing his tutor who emailed friends in New York.
It is the highest affirmation of his value, of the value of the work. I don't think there could be a higher acknowledgement of the quality of the work that he's producing.
Martin's works are described by art experts as geometric abstraction. He colours individual squares with an ink pen to create intricate patterns. The New York Times gave his work a rave review, and that backing has his works going out the gallery doors at more than $2,000 American a piece. He's got the art world at his feet. They're not just admiring, they're buying.
Martin's work went into some of the best collections I've ever seen of 20th century art.
You pleased with yourself?
Absolutely.
Shalene Hearn, One News.
Well, close-ups here soon. And Susan, the woman who collapsed after being given the wrong prescriptions on tonight.
Yes, and you know, it could just happen to anybody. For the second time in 3 months, a person's become seriously ill after a pharmacy gave out the wrong medicine. How did it happen? More importantly, how can you make sure it won't happen to you? Plus, we're going to meet Kelly. She's the last surviving dolphin at Napier's Marineland. That's all at 7.
Thanks, Susan. Still to come on the news, though, why the Bangladeshi media is boycotting the Australian Test match.
A long proving run for a car that runs on used cooking oil.
And how to trade up from a paperclip to a house using Enterprise and the good old internet.